Hi again, it's Brendon Payne with the Coastal Academy of Real Estate, continuing our series on the frequently asked questions that we get from agents who are considering getting into the real estate business, or from agents that sometimes are just curious on, what can they do to increase their production. So today's question has to do with, it's actually an extension of another topic, another question that I've answered about the tools and technology that you really need to focus on. And one of those tools and technology that I mentioned was like contacts, leads. Where do you get them? So today I'm going to break down 3 of the key ways that agents are getting buyer and seller leads. And these are only three, but typically the big categories. So as you kind of begin your career, these are things that you want to be clear on before you choose a company, to know what role do they play in your lead generation, and most importantly, what role do they support in your lead generation? Because we all have to have buyers and sellers that we can work with. So let's talk about, how do new agents, new licensees, or any licensee in general, how are they getting their leads? Number one is company generated leads. So if you work with a company that is generating leads and sending those out to their agents, depending on what process they go through for that, that's one way. Now, like everything in life, there's some upsides and then there's some downsides, and I want to go through both so you kind of really understand it. The upside of company generated leads are, you're not making the initial investment. Typically, the company is investing significant dollars, either through maybe some services that they are paying for that generate leads to the company, and then they send them out to the individual agents. Or a lot of times, what's a little bit more prevalent is they've invested tens of thousands of dollars creating web assets, websites, and different things to generate leads. They've made the initial investment, and then they're pushing them out to the agents and hoping that there is a return, meaning hoping that the agents convert, and then there's a return, and everybody is profitable there. So the upside is you have no initial investment. The downside is, because you have no initial investment in it, then you typically don't have a lot of control over the lead flow. And whatever that lead flow is can be, it depends on what's going on with where the leads are being generated from. So you're not really in control of what's coming to you, okay? They may also not be as profitable, because a lot of times there might be a different revenue share, a different commission split on what an agent is getting on a lead that they convert, that they brought into the company, versus maybe a lead that is coming from something where the company's spending a lot of money on it. There might be a different split or different revenue share in there, because the company has to recoup some of those dollars that they invest in order to continue on with the process. So they might not be as profitable, but again, they can be very profitable because it was a lead that you might not have had in the beginning. Number 2, you can buy your own leads. So similar to what the company's doing, they're investing some money or some time or a little bit of both to generate leads and then send them out to the agents. You can duplicate that, but as a single agent, most likely you're going to be duplicating it on a smaller scale. And the other part is on the web asset part, so building websites and stuff like that. For the individual agent to go out and start that as a new licensee is probably pretty cost prohibitive. You're talking tens of thousands of dollars, and there is a time factor involved. Like, it takes some time for websites to really get generating leads on their own. So that might not be the greatest investment for a new licensee, but on a smaller scale, there's no shortage of lead services that you can go out and pay money to every month, and they're going to send you leads and contacts and people to talk to. Now, the upside of that is you're in control. You're in control of the lead flow. You can throttle it up. You can throttle it down. You're totally in control because it's your account or it's your service that you signed up for. Here's the downside. The downside is you are spending money initially on them, at a time where maybe because you haven't been in the business so long, maybe your skill sets aren't quite there. So naturally, you're not converting as much as maybe you will at some point in the future. So if you're spending money early on and your skills are not as good as they're going to be in a year, then spending money early may not be as profitable as it would be once you get a little bit more experience. Now, everybody's got to make their own decision, but the reality is anytime you're spending money for leads, that's an investment. And in an investment, for it to work, there has to be a positive return. So that's something to consider. The third is you can self-generate. So you don't have to rely on leads coming from the company or leads that you're actually spending money on. So basically meaning you are the person that's generating the lead. Now, there's an investment to make here, but the investment is your time. The investment's your time, generating conversations, whether it's calling or emailing or talking with people in your centers of influence and people that you know, friends and family. It's all those things where you're investing time, getting the word out that, hey, I'm here, ready, willing, able, and eager to work with someone. And the great thing about that as a strategy is in those conversations, you're also increasing your skills. So the fact that you're increasing your skills at the same time that you're doing your job, that's a pretty nice combination. Now, the downside is, or I guess I would say the downside for some people is that they do have to invest the time versus just going and paying X amount a month, but you'll have to decide if financially you can pay X amount per month, maybe it works better for you. If that's not an option right now, then the time investment is what you're going to make, and the upside is you actually are going to probably get your skills honed a little bit quicker because of all the conversations that you're going to have. The one thing that I would note on this is if you are simply having conversations just by trial and error, just going into it and just saying, I'm going to wait until somebody comes along and says, I'm thinking about, maybe buying or selling, and that is the time that you decide to, learn the business, then it's probably going to take much longer for you to find some success versus going out and actually finding people that may want to sell, because the frequency that you're having those conversations with people who may want to buy or may want to sell when you're self-generating, it's going to be so much higher. You're going to learn much, much quicker. So a great combination of all three in the beginning is, and really number one and number three is probably the best. Number two, in special circumstances, if somebody is coming in with a lot of sales experience or really, really deep bankrolls, then maybe they can make some sense of investing money up front in leads. But number one, company-generated leads, and then learning how to generate your own are probably the two safest bets, and the recommendation that a lot of the agents that I know that are doing a lot of business and all started out as a new licensee at one point, those are typically the best conversations. So hopefully this gives you some clarity on, where are you going to find leads, and get you thinking about kind of what direction you feel comfortable going, and continue to watch these videos and let us know if we can get you any additional information. Thanks a lot. Again, it's Brendon Payne, Coastal Academy of Real Estate.